Warning, this episode contains conversations about addiction, mental health, death, and suicidal thoughts. Listener discretion is advised.
It made me feel comfortable in my own skin. I did cocaine for the first time when I was 15. That's something that I could never do if I wasn't sober. I'm able to feel emotions again.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Generation SOS on Record. Today, I'm here with Jason. I know him through Generation SOS. He's a sober speaker for our organization. To start off, Jason, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are right now in the world?
Currently, I'm in Florida. I'm in Palm Beach. I spend a lot of time down here during the winter. I'm a bit of a snowbird. But I grew up in New York City, in Manhattan. I was born and raised in New York City. I lived there my entire life. I just turned 31 a month ago.
So as I mentioned, you're a sober speaker. So you're sober. So let's get into that. When did you first start using substances?
The first time I ever got drunk, I was 13 years old. I got drunk and it was awesome. There were no consequences the day after. And it made me feel comfortable in my own skin. It made me feel confident. I was a very anxious kid growing up, and substances and I noticed when I started drinking and smoking for the first time, that really brought my anxiety down a lot. For the first time in my life, once I hit high school, became popular. Girls were into me, and I was having people at my house. I was renting out hotel rooms and throwing parties. It was just so I was very into the culture as well. And I was off to the races pretty early. I did cocaine for the first time when I was 15. I was in 9th grade. The following year came around, 10th grade came around, where I had I had gained a reputation for doing drugs and being the party kid. And I was only 15 years old. I started doing more drugs. I started doing ecstasy. Into my junior year of high school, started to take some Xanax, Percocet. So I started to experiment. I started going to nightclubs at the end of 10th grade. And that became a whole other kind of obsession, where it was like, okay, I'm going to be the guy who pays for all the tables, then facilitates, everyone being able to go out. And I'm going to call the guys, and I'm going to book everything and handle everything. At a certain point, to rewind, back to like 8th grade, like I didn't really have a place in the world. I didn't think I was good at anything, but I was great at using and facilitating parties and a good time. I started to really see the consequences of drugs after my freshman year of college. In August of 2011, one of my best friends, his brother passed away. I had never been in a room with so many sad people. This was someone who had passed away, died from an opiate overdose. And he was like 22 years old at the time. As I got to my junior year of college, I started really going down the rabbit hole with Oxycontin. And this was the beginning of almost a 4-year battle with a severe opiate addiction. Once I started with the Oxy was when things very quickly started to get dark. And it wasn't just me, it was my whole friend group who started to do it. The second semester of my junior year, that summer, my best friend's roommate died of an Oxy overdose. My response to my roommate's friend passing away from Oxycontin was, let's do more Oxycontin, which is pretty insane because we knew that's what he had passed away from, and we just continued to use the substance that killed him. My senior year of college, I was not as social. I spent a lot of time in my house. I still threw some parties every now and then. I just kind of wanted to be able to do Oxy and be with myself. And I went into I was I my senior year of college was 2013, 2014. I came back for one more semester in the fall of 2014. Woke up one morning and I found a very close friend of mine dead on my living room couch, which was the most horrific thing I've ever experienced in my life. That was really eye-opening for me. I had to get interviewed by homicide. I had to deal with a lot of people blaming me, and also later had to get interviewed by the FBI in regards to drug trafficking because his family gave my friend's phone to the DC Metro Police, and it turned out that we were buying drugs from a dealer that was wanted to get across multiple state lines. And who was the guy who was always buying drugs for kids in the frat? Obviously me. And when I got interviewed by the FBI, I was high. I remember being in the bathroom at LaGuardia doing painkillers, snorting Oxycontin right before stepping on my flight to go to DC to get interviewed by the FBI. And things get worse. I get interviewed by the FBI in the summer of 2015, and then the last year, from the fall of 2015 to the fall of 2016, when I got sober, was a fucking nightmare because of how bad my personal drug addiction got and how bad my relationship with myself got. I got to the point where I would go to bed every single night with my pills, my straw, my laptop, my credit card underneath the pillow next to me because I couldn't even get out of bed without getting my fix. I was taking a ridiculous amount of Oxycontin every day, and it had just gotten to the point where I was severely depressed. I was absolutely broken and shattered. I couldn't function. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't be even a third of a human being without it. I would go to bed every night saying these foxhole prayers like, God, if you let me wake up in the morning, I swear to God I'll stop doing drugs, because I was on so many different things. I had like I said, severe opiate addiction. I was still taking Xanax, taking Adderall also, so I could like focus for work, but I don't know how anything could be processed in my mind with all the other substances I was on. But every single morning, I would go back to the Oxy because I would get sick as hell. Another friend of mine passed away. It was someone who I actually hadn't been close with in quite some time, but he was one of my best friends in middle school. So I'm 24 at the time. My friend passes away. This was someone who was one of my best friends from age 6 to 16. We went to middle school together. We went to school together for 9 years, and he too dies of a drug overdose. And this is now the fourth person who's passed away in the last 5 years. No one makes it to 25, which is a life cut way too short.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm like somewhere between starting to realize that I'm not invincible, and I'm starting to realize that my number is going to get called soon if I don't stop using. But at this, like, how can I stop using? Like, I've been on some sort of substance every day for the last 6 years. Drugs and alcohol, they were my compass for life. Like, that's how I navigated the world. My problem was life. I didn't really know how to deal with life, and drugs and alcohol, they were my medicine. I had gotten to the point where I really considered killing myself. I was holding a bottle of pills in my hand with way more than enough pills to overdose, and I was just like, I should just take all of these pills and no one will ever know that I did this. It'll look like an accidental overdose. For some reason, I decided not to do that. And I had a therapist who I had been seeing for 2 years at this time. And I decided to give him a call. He said, "Are you going to hurt yourself?" I said, "No, we've moved past this." He said, "I need you to come and see me first thing tomorrow morning." So I came in and I saw him. And this was the first time where it like I let it I was fully honest with him. I was like, this is what's going on. I cannot live like this anymore. What do I do? He was like, you got to get sober. And I when he said that, I knew that that's what I had to do, because I had tried kicking certain substances throughout the course of my using career, and just taking more of the other. Like, I did the 100 days without ketamine. I did the 100 days without Xanax, 100 days without weed, 100 days without booze. Like, I even did like 2 months without Oxycontin at one point. And just when I took one thing away, I just upped everything else. I couldn't just point a finger at one thing. I was like, I can't do anything. Like, I really do need to get sober. And I was like, how do I even go about doing that? And he was like, you come see me multiple times a week, and you got to go to AA. And that was, I was going to AA 5 or 6 times a week. I was going in to see him 3 times a week. I had a psychopharmacologist that I was seeing as well, separately from him. And I was prescribed something called Suboxone to help me get off of the opiates, which is a very slippery slope in and of itself. People get addicted to that. And I was incredibly disciplined with it. And I got really lucky in a lot of ways, because I had a community of friends who were either family friends, school friends, um, who either got sober before me or with me, and a lot of them I did drugs with. So I had like one of my best friends met me at an AA meeting on October 1st, 2016, which is my sober day. And he had like 5 days in. And it was like the little things like that and I did a lot of drugs with him. After that, it was just like I found out that like a couple of close family friends of mine had like 9 months of sobriety, a year of sobriety. My college roommate had been sober for a year and a half. We got this group of guys together that just like for about 3 years religiously hit the same AA meetings, same 12-step meetings, on Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, and all hung out afterwards. And it was fucking awesome. The two things that really were absolutely crucial for my sobriety, and I would be dead without them, was AA and therapy. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone gets sober in a different way. But for me, it was AA and therapy. And everything I own today should be stamped property AA. AA taught me how to live life on life's terms as a sober human being. Everything that I do today is from what I learned in
Right.
in AA. My compass was drugs and alcohol for so long, and that was replaced with the 12 steps. And that became my toolkit to deal with life and live life on life's terms. Big thing for me is living in love and doing the right thing, living an honest life, helping other people. And when I do this, the universe and me are in sync. I go to bed at night now excited to wake up the next morning. I've been enjoying it, and
Yeah.
that's something that I could never do if I wasn't sober. I'm able to feel emotions again. I'm able to feel joy. I'm able to feel sorrow. And life isn't always easy, but that's the beauty of it, right? Because when things aren't going your way, it makes it all the more beautiful and magical when they do. You are worthy. You are enough. You are loved. Those are the three things that I would really, really hit hard on.
And do you know that today, though?
I absolutely do, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You have such a beautiful story. And there's parts that some people will be like, why is that beautiful? But if you didn't go through any of that, you potentially might not be here. But like you would not be the person you are today. And that's so beautiful that you've been given like these years on earth and like a chance to change and grow, and you've taken advantage of that.
For more conversations like these or to find a support system near you, go to generationsos.org.